Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 278 of bulking to 75 kilos with calisthenics only, and today is a hamstring day. Now, I want to talk about an issue which I often get questions about, which is how the hell do I start? How the hell do I start training, going on a diet, getting in shape, getting stronger? Because there is just so much information, I don't know where to start. And you know, it's an issue that when it comes to training, I never had. And I'm going to tell you why. I never had this issue because for me, I started training when I just saw some random guy, or not some random guy, I saw Andrea Larosa doing some skills on YouTube. And I was like, hey, I want to try that. And then I went to the park and I tried some skills and I failed, obviously. But at that point, I had already started. Oftentimes what happens is, people will tell themselves, I want to get in shape. And then they start looking things up, how to get in shape. And then they learn about diet and they're like, okay, if I know this, I can start. But then you look into it more and more information comes. One information is like contradicting the other, right? And you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, what should I believe? How the hell do I get started? You're getting overwhelmed because you're getting all of this information. But the mistake you're making is that you're not starting from an action. When you start from an action, you have a leading point. I started training by doing some skills. At that point, I knew nothing about them. I didn't know anything about form. I didn't know anything about getting stronger. I only knew, hey, this guy, he's holding his body horizontally. Let me give that a go. And that's what I did. And then I failed and I was like, this is kind of fun. And then I looked up how to train planche. And then, oh, this guy is doing push-ups, tuck planche push-ups. Maybe I should give something a go. And then I tried tuck planche push-ups. And I was like, wait, these tuck planche push-ups are becoming easy. What the hell can I do now? And then you get to the next progression, right? And that's how everything starts. Everything starts from an action. When you are dieting, you can, whatever concept you have in your head of dieting, you can start applying it, right? Maybe just like, oh, skip breakfast. It's not necessarily a good thing, right? But then you look at the scale, it's going down or not, right? Oh, the scale is not going down. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. And then you can look something up. Or it is going down, but this fucking sucks. I don't want to skip breakfast. And then you look up how to diet in a different way, right? You start from the action and then you start looking things up. And the great thing about this is you will learn things that apply to you. You will learn things relevant to you. Because if you just start looking things up, right, half of the things, if not more, are not even going to be relevant for you. You're not even going to be using the knowledge. So it's going to be, going in the head from one side and going out the other, going out of the other side immediately because you're not going to remember that shit if you don't use it. So, do something, you're going to run into problems and then try to problem solve, try to, find stuff out about your problem, right? And that's how you learn gradually, and that's how you learn at your pace. Because if you're doing things step by step, you take an action, you ask some questions, you look up the questions, and you apply the solutions. You have this circle that you can just keep. You're going in circles, but you're learning more every time, and it's automatically going to be, your pace because you're learning things that are relevant. So that's what I want to say about that one. And now let's talk about the training because today, the reason I came to this topic is because today I'm going to learn as well. Now, usually the hamstring workout is just Nordic curls. Today there's going to be a second exercise added. So that's very exciting. We'll get to that after the Nordic curls are done because, of course, it's not because one exercise is going to be added that I'm going to stop the Nordic curl because the Nordic curl is the greatest hamstring exercise that has ever existed, in my opinion. So I'm gonna basically do the same as last time, just a little bit more difficult. Last time I did pinky assisted Nordic curls for 5 sets of 8 reps. Today I'm gonna aim for sets of 10 reps and hopefully do 5 sets as well. After which we'll see what happens. Let's just get outside and start doing. That's how everything starts. Start doing. fuck. I have a problem counting to 10. I think it was 10, but I have no clue. Anyway, this is gonna be a good challenge, you know. 5 sets of 10, not only counting wise, but also physically. It's gonna be a challenge. So I'm gonna concentrate and get 4 more sets. Let's go. All right, 5 sets done. Hey, I'm not gonna do a finisher set today because I feel like these Nordic rolls, the pinky assisted ones, felt heavier than last time, which is a sign that I was not fully recovered, or maybe something else is going on. But you know, I'm not gonna push it today because I am still coming back from injury. But instead, by leaving a bit in the tank today, I'll be well recovered next time to make a big push for 5 sets of 12 reps, which is more than today, which is progress, which is what you're looking for. So sometimes taking a step back is not a bad thing. But now let's head inside and go for that second exercise. Okie dokie, so the hamstring exercise that I'm gonna be doing, or the second exercise I'm gonna be doing, is gonna be the glute hamstring bridge, or the hip extension they call it. And basically I'm doing this because at the moment you might be aware that I am injured in my hip from squatting too much. And I looked it up online, how to solve it, hip pain when squatting. And basically I found the hip extension. You make your glutes and your hamstrings stronger, and the pressure is going to be relieved from your hips. Now, if, like, when I started out, all of this information was already out there, but it wasn't relevant for me. When I started training, I just had a few things that I wanted to try, and one by one I started looking things up until 9 years later I'm in the situation that I'm training legs. What the fuck? And now I happen to injure myself, and suddenly this information is relevant. And that's the only time you need to look something up. You start doing something, you're going to run into problems, you look for the solution, you try it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, repeat the process. Start looking again, and eventually you'll find something. And that's how you start. You start by doing, and by doing, you'll run into problems, and then you'll have to look things up. You'll know what to search because the problem is already there. When you're just starting out and you haven't started yet, right? And you're thinking of, like, what should I do? There is no problem yet because you haven't created one yet. So of course it's going to be difficult to know which information is relevant. You don't even know what's relevant, right? First you do things, then you know what's relevant, then you can start searching information directly and with aim. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna do the glute hamstring bridge on a single leg because I don't have a lot of weight with me. But basically, controlled reps, explosive on the way up, and it's gonna stretch my hip, but I'm gonna have to get into that stretch position with my own power, so it's gonna be safe. And I'm gonna do a couple sets of this, starting with body weight because I like to start light on any exercise I do for the first time or for the first time in a while. And if it goes well, I'll just add, I have the dumbbell ready already, I'll add some weight and do some heavier sets. Let's go. Alright, fucking hell. Removing the cushion was not a good idea. I'm gonna put something soft there again because otherwise it's gonna hurt a lot. But, well, no pain, no gain, but I would like to have the pain in my muscles instead of my, my back. Oh, holy shit. Whew. My hamstrings and my ass. What do you call it? My buttocks? I feel like that's UK. My glutes, yes. my glutes might be weak. I don't think my hamstrings are weak because Nordic curls, but maybe they're tired right now. But holy shit, this is quite heavy. I'm gonna do 2 more sets of this. All right, so that's it for today's workout. The fun thing about these hamstring bridges or hip extensions, whatever the fuck it is, I'm not used to it. So today I'm very weak, but I get to explore the movement. Next time, normally there will be a lot of gains. I will be able to do the same weight for more reps and things like that. Because right now I don't know the correct way to use the muscles in my body for this particular movement. But once I get used to the pattern, the movement will be more efficient and I'll be able to do more in general. I'll get stronger, which hopefully it results in my hip healing and me being able to squat properly again. But anyway, that's it for today's workout. Yeah, I quite liked the movement, the second movement here, because sometimes when you have these lighter Nordic curl days, which it's a heavy movement, so you need those lighter days, but it can feel, like something's missing. You've had your main course, but where is the dessert? This can, replace the dessert and also, leave something in the tank to allow your body to recover. But yeah, then what the fuck was I saying? Yes, in the beginning I was saying like, you know, just fucking start, right? And that's something I really want to emphasize, because if you just start looking things up, like how to train, how to do, diets and things like that, you're gonna find so much information. But all of this information, it applies to different people in different situations. So first of all, you have to find the situation that you are in by starting. By starting, you'll realize, what do you need, and from that point of starting to realize what you need, you can then, look it up. Oh, I'm doing some push-ups, but these are starting to get easy. I guess I need some harder push-ups. And then you look up harder push-up variations, right? Or you see someone doing like a skill, right? And like, oh, I wonder if I can do that. And then you look up, how to train skills, and then you find some information. But like I mentioned, it has to be step by step, because if you try to learn everything at once, you're gonna learn nothing in the end. But that's it for today's training. I'm gonna head downstairs and have some dinner, and I'll see you tomorrow for a push day, which, if it's anything like the push days I have recently had, it's gonna be a good one. So I'm looking forward to that.